I know that it's just now starting to rain, but I could not help but, because, you know, whenever I wake up, I always take a look at what the temperature is like outside. And no kidding, it's actually warm out. How is that possible? I can't believe it. This is already a great way to start Friday. I am not even kidding. And yeah, it's so awesome I could almost end the video here. I'm not gonna end the video here. That would be rather weird if I did that. But in any case, good morning, happy Friday, everybody. We are at the end of the week. St. Patrick's Day weekend is upon us. Yesterday, I completely forgot that it was Pi Day. That's pi as in the mathematical term, not the actual food term. Although a lot of people do go for the latter on Pi Day, so there we go. And in case anyone's wondering, the farthest I can get to actually counting the units of pi is 3.1415926535897. That's about all I got. But yeah, the number of digits goes on to infinity, and I really have no idea how to actually do the equations to figure out the next digit. But yeah, what you just heard is about as far as I know. Funny enough, back at Horseheads in one of my old math classes, there was actually like a long elongated poster that had all the digits of pi from one end of the room to another. It was like near the ceiling, so you couldn't really, touch it or whatever. But yeah, that's how I remembered as many digits of pi as I remember. So yay! Well, actually, I did talk about Horseheads a lot yesterday, so I guess it makes sense I could bring it up one more time. But enough about that. There was yesterday's episode of Hot Ones with Shaquille O'Neal, which most definitely lived up to the hype for me anyway. I'm gonna put a link in the description up top or below or whatever social media platform you're likely watching. But I love during it, because he actually did the legendary one chip challenge. Now, if you don't know what the one chip challenge is, it's actually a single, I think it's either a tortilla chip or a potato chip. One single chip that's been laced in the essence of a Carolina Reaper. Now, the Carolina Reaper is one of the hottest peppers in the world. I say one of because as of a couple years ago, in fact, if you've been watching Hot Ones, you would know this, there's a pepper called Pepper X. That is the hottest pepper in the world. But the Carolina Reaper is still no joke. And when Shaq did that one chip challenge, he actually would he couldn't take it at all. But during the episode of Hot Ones yesterday, he said he wouldn't make a face, and he actually did a really good job. He actually brought his own jug of milk. That's awesome. It makes me think, if I'm ever on Hot Ones, what would I do? So, maybe that's the problem though, because if I ever was on Hot Ones, I would definitely be like, listen, I definitely do want to have milk, but can we just keep it in the refrigerator and then bring it out if I need it? Because I really don't want to drink milk at room temperature. No one wants to drink milk at room temperature. Yes, the proteins in milk are supposed to be what cover the capsaicin that would allow you to mitigate some of the pain. But it also helps if it's actually cold, because cold can be very relieving sometimes. So, there you go. The more you know. Anyway, so there's that. I mean, tomorrow I definitely want to do the St. Patrick's Day run that's going on tomorrow. So tomorrow, I don't really know if tomorrow's video is necessarily going to work. Maybe I'll do like a two-parter. Not entirely sure if I can. But either way, it's going to be really awkward trying to wear this tie throughout the duration of it all. So there's that. And once again, if you practice the Christian or Catholic faith, today's Friday. That means you cannot have any meat today until like midnight tonight, I guess, if you really want to wait that long. I mean, there are some places that are actually open 24 hours a day, and some places actually do breakfast all day. So, yeah, if you want to do something like that, go right ahead. But you actually have to wait another less than 18 hours before you can. It's like almost 6:15 right now is when this video is being made, in case you guys were wondering. Let's see what else is there. Oh, right. So once again, there was a new chapter of One Piece, which I'm going to put a link in the descriptions if anyone wants to read it. And personally, I really dug, I mean, again, no spoilers, but the ending of this particular chapter actually follows a story in Japanese mythology. I mean, yes, One Piece is based on Japan, and the Wano arc that we are in really does, symbolize a lot of, rural Japan in the 17th century, roughly. But the story in Japanese mythology that is being relatively portrayed, and it's at the end of the chapter, in case you want to take a look at it for yourselves. It's basically, there was this one great warrior who battled like 1,000 or like 999 or some giant number of people on a bridge. And after every, warrior that this guy defeated, he would, collect their sword or various weapon as a trophy. But one day, he was about to get his, either it's 100 or 1,000. I forget the number. It's a really big number because he beat that many guys. Anyway, so one night, there was this one mysterious warrior who actually arrived to fight this guy who collected all those, weapons or whatever. And so, even though you would think that the weapons collector, since he'd won so many in a row, that he would lose, the challenger actually won. And the weapons collector ended up becoming sort of like an underling to the guy who beat him. Think of it kind of like a Japanese version of Robin Hood and Little John. Like Robin Hood being that challenger and Little John being the big weapons collector guy. I mean, you'll see it at the end of the chapter, so you'll know exactly what it is I'm referring to. But it's actually a really cool story. And I mean, I probably should get into, one of these days I really should get into what my thoughts are about, various stories and various mythologies, because I really am interested in stuff like that. I really am. I used to be a whiz at, like, ancient related trivia. Just call it for the fact that, I was, I would ask a lot of questions, and, my father was a pretty smart, my father is a smart guy. He's still alive, I have to use present tense. My father is a pretty smart guy, and so, for the most part, if I had a question, he'd be the one to, answer it for me. And more often than not, I would always have to deal with, like an ancient story or, something that happened like hundreds of years ago or whatever. I mean, my father watches a lot of, History Channel and stuff like that. He watches stuff like his two biggest, things he's most interested in terms of history are usually, the Civil War and World War One and Two, aka pretty much, the time that everyone knows and talks about when discussing world history. But, yeah, out of, history, you're going to get some fictional stories and, legends about great characters of the past. And, I just told you one earlier. Actually, a few years ago, I don't know if any of you guys remember this, but the GameCube and the PlayStation 2 actually had a game that came out called Okami. And that story takes place in, that game actually takes place in Japan, or as it's pronounced in Japanese, Nippon. And that story and the game borrows a lot of Japanese mythology related things, including the story that I just mentioned earlier. Actually, Okami is a really good game. You guys should, maybe I should, play it again. That'd be really cool. Anyway, so, yeah, this actually got kind of informative now, didn't it? Well, again, it's St. Patrick's Day weekend, and I probably could have made a better, effort to talk about this a year ago. So, I'm going to, well, actually I did post on my Facebook, but I should probably, get into talking about it now to those of you who are my friends on Facebook. If any of you guys are going to need a designated driver, please, please, please let me know. I will totally be available. I don't particularly partake in the affairs of a certain drink, let's say. So I will be very much available to offer rides to anyone who, for whatever reason, is unable to drive. So, there you go. Didn't really make an effort to do that a year ago, but I'm more than happy to do that now. Because I really do care about the safety of all of you guys. I really do. Because if, for whatever reason, something happened to you, it's quite possible you couldn't see these videos every day. Okay, but that was weak. But seriously though, at the end of every video I always say, ever since day 400, I've been saying make good choices. And so this weekend particularly, I am probably going to be stressing that a little bit more, but for a good reason. I mean, it is St. Patrick's Day. So, be safe, be healthy, if you want to spend time with your family, please do that. That would actually be really, really cool if you do. And, yeah, that's about all I have to say on that matter. So, favorite, share, and hit that subscribe button. I could really use support on YouTube. Follow me on the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. As always, I'm very humble I made this video for all of you guys to watch and enjoy for today. I'm very hopeful that we all have a wonderful, wonderful Friday that kicks off St. Patrick's Day weekend. And remember, for if you guys want to talk or chat, I'm always going to be here to lend an ear, and I'll always have your back. Take care, and make good choices. See ya.